I think we got a congressman in the House, right, Willie?
We do. Richie Torres, Congressman Richie Torres is here representing the Bronx this morning.
Well, this is exciting to me. I will tell you why this is exciting to me. Congressman, I'm not good at this politics thing, all right? So I'm going to play a clip, and I'm going to have you respond to it and tell me what a good response to Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent would be. He was at an event in Washington yesterday where he said the so-called Trump accounts actually are a great way to, quote, a backdoor for privatizing Social Security. Take a look at this clip.
I'm not sure when the distribution level date should be, whether should it be 30 and you can buy a house, should it be 60, but in a way, it is a backdoor for privatizing Social Security.
Whoa, he said the quiet part out loud. Congressman, so you got this bill, and again, I don't know politics, but you got this bill that slashes health care for the most needy among us. It gives the biggest tax cuts ever to billionaires and multinational corporations. And now the Treasury Secretary says it creates a way to privatize Social Security. What say you?
I think it shows the world what we've long known, that Donald Trump is a snake oil salesman. And, you know, the slogan of Trump has been promises made, promises kept. He made a promise to protect Medicaid, and instead he has cut it by $1 trillion. He made a promise to protect Social Security, and now you have his Treasury Secretary threatening to privatize Social Security. And, of course, he made a promise to release the Epstein files, and instead he's broken his promise to his own base. So there's a pattern here.
Yeah, there is. And again, John Lemire, this is an own goal, to put it mildly, when, again, you have this massive bill that's already hugely unpopular, that slashes health care. I mean, for people in red state America, for people in rural America, it slashes health care there. It slashes health care in blue state America. It gives tax cuts to billionaires and IT monopolists. It slashes taxes for multinational corporations. And now the Treasury Secretary says it's going to help us privatize Social Security. I mean, you talk about touching all the third rails of American politics at the same time. They've just done it.
Yeah, and there was a recognition that they did. The Treasury Secretary, the department put out a statement a few hours later running back, not just walking back that, but running back it. But yes, for many, it was revelatory that this is something that perhaps the Trump administration is going to try to push through. To the congressman's point, that again, Democrats have been warning about this all along, and here we have an extremely influential member of the cabinet suggesting it's a possibility. So, Congressman, let's talk about this and the bill further. I mean, as you sat down, you represent the Bronx, which is your district, one of the poorest in the nation, and talk to us about how, in specific ways, how this bill could impact your constituents and what you're hearing from them.
So, look, Medicaid is the air we breathe. So even though there are 70 million Americans who receive health care directly from Medicaid, there are 330 million Americans, all of us, who receive care from a health care system that's heavily funded by Medicaid. There's a sense in which all of us are Medicaid. The majority of my hospitals receive most of their funding from Medicaid. And Medicaid is not simply health care for the lowest income. It's become home care, long-term care for the elderly, the disabled, and the chronically ill. I have a constituent, Jose Hernandez, who became paralyzed in his youth, while at the same time his mother was dying from cancer. And he said that he would not be alive today were it not for Medicaid and the stability it gave him. It made it possible for him to go to college, to form a family. He now has a child and a wife, and he's become the president of the New York City chapter of the United Spinal Association. There are millions of stories like those because of the power of Medicaid. Medicaid and Social Security are the most popular programs in America. It transcends partisanship.
It certainly does, Mike, and it transcends partisanship because there's always been, I believe, this faulty assumption among a lot of Republicans, a lot of elite Republicans that actually don't live in rural America, have never lived in rural America, have never lived in middle America, they think, oh, it's just about urban America Medicaid. What they don't understand is 30 to 40% of all children get their pediatric care, get their doctors, get their testing, get everything they need, their hospitalization from Medicaid. And for parents and grandparents who either get long-term care or get care at nursing homes, that comes from Medicaid too. We already have a rural healthcare crisis. We've been hearing about it for 10, 15 years. Things keep getting worse in rural America when it comes to taking care of the health of Americans. This obviously makes it worse when you slash Medicaid the way you slash Medicaid. And then you talk about privatizing Social Security. At the same time, billionaires are getting tax cuts. At the same time, multinational corporations are getting tax cuts. At the same time that monopolists are getting tax cuts. It's outrageous. I have no idea how Americans stand for this.
Well, it's a double death notice for people living at the margins, people like Richie Torres, people in your district. Medicaid, Medicare was actually 60 years old yesterday. Lyndon Johnson signed it, enabled it into legislation 60 years ago yesterday. Why, and you belong to the House of Representatives, and the Senate, you might as well have concierge medicine. I mean, you've got great medical plans as elected officials. Why are the Democrats seemingly so distant and are unresponsive to the real needs of so many people in this country when the roots of what helps people are democratic programs?
Well, I'm not sure if I would concede the premise of your question. I do feel like we've been mounting a strong resistance. Look, the Democratic Party, unlike the Republican Party, which has become a cult of personality around Donald Trump, you know, we're an ideologically very coalition that ranges from the Squad to the Blue Dogs. But we have been united in our resistance to Donald Trump, and we've been unified in our opposition to the Republican reconciliation bill because it represents an frontal assault on the social safety net, on Medicaid.
Well, that's your point, and I agree with you. But the flip side of it is, how many people in your district, when you go home, walk the streets, talk to people, raise the issue of Epstein?
The majority of my constituents are concerned about the cost of living and public safety and Medicaid and Medicare and Social Security. Those are the dominant issues. But what matters about the Epstein story is credibility. You know, if a president is breaking the promises that he has made to the American people, that's a matter of credibility, and it's a matter of transparency. Like, the American people have a right to know what's in the Epstein files, who is in the Epstein files, and whether the who includes the president of the United States, Donald Trump. It's just a matter of transparency and accountability. And again, Donald Trump is the one who made it an issue. He ran on this issue, and we're holding him accountable for keeping his promises.
And as you know, Congressman, many of the people who were screaming into podcast microphones over the last several years about releasing the files now are in positions where they could release files, whatever those may be, the head of the FBI, the deputy head of the FBI. And they've said, nothing to see here. He died the way they said he died, and that's obviously raised the ire of supporters of Donald Trump, and Donald Trump himself trying to move past unsuccessfully, saying it's a hoax, it's Democrats who are pushing this. So why do you suspect now that they're on the inside of the government, all these Republicans are so resistant to doing the thing that they were demanding for so long?
Because Republicans are beginning to realize that there's no one in Washington, D.C. who has closer and longer ties to Jeffrey Epstein than Donald Trump. I mean, the public record is damning. You know, there's the 2002 New York Magazine profile in which Donald Trump is the only public figure who went on record acknowledging Epstein's sexual interest in young women. Mar-a-Lago was one of the recruitment sites for Jeffrey Epstein's sex trafficking scheme. And then for me, the most damning fact, Donald Trump made Alexander Acosta, who gave a sweetheart plea deal to Jeffrey Epstein and to all co-conspirators, his Secretary of Labor, which has jurisdiction over human trafficking. Like, all of those facts show that that there's no figure on earth who has less credibility on the subject of Jeffrey Epstein than Donald Trump.
So how do you see this ending? You all are pushing for the release of whatever's still out there. We should point out we've seen passenger logs from the planes. We know about Jeffrey Epstein's black books. We've seen a lot. Do you believe that there's more out there, and how long will this go on?
Look, he should release the files, and the issue shows no signs of disappearing. It matters to his base. He made it an issue, and it's going to continue to be an albatross around his neck.